In a quiet park bathed in golden sunlight, Mark and his 6-year-old daughter Emma wandered along a winding path, her giggles filling the air. Suddenly Emma froze, her tiny finger pointing ahead. "Daddy, why is that lady tied to the tree?" Mark's breath caught as he saw her, a woman in a torn wedding dress, wrists bound to a tree with a chain, her eyes wide with desperation. He rushed to her side, heart pounding. "Hold on, we're here to help," he said, noticing the chain wasn't locked, just wrapped around her wrists. As he freed her, she slumped into his arms, whispering, "Thank you." "What happens next will change everything." Mark steadied the woman, who murmured her name, Sarah, her voice shaky but grateful. Emma tugged at his sleeve, eyes big with wonder. "Is she a princess, Daddy?" Sarah managed a faint smile. "It's a long story, sweetheart." Mark offered to take her to the hospital, but Sarah shook her head, insisting she only needed rest. Against his better judgment, he brought her home, a nagging question lingering. What had driven her to this? As they left the park, the mystery of her chains tightened its grip on his mind. Inside Mark's warm, cluttered home, Sarah washed away the grime of her ordeal, slipping into clothes once worn by Emma's late mother. Emma, bubbling with excitement, dragged Sarah to see her toys, chattering nonstop. Over a modest dinner, Sarah's guard softened. "I was supposed to get married today," she admitted, her voice cracking. "But I couldn't." Mark nodded, understanding loss too well. "My wife passed 2 years ago. It's just me and Emma now." Their shared vulnerability wove an invisible thread between them. Later, as Sarah sang Emma to sleep, Mark watched, a lump in his throat. But then, Sarah's phone buzzed, her face draining of color as she stepped outside. Through the cracked door, Mark caught fragments of her call. "I won't come back, leave me alone." She returned trembling, confessing the truth. Her fiancé was a tyrant, his control suffocating. She'd fled the wedding, chaining herself to the tree in a desperate plea for freedom. Mark's heart ached for her courage. "You're safe here," he promised, though fear gnawed at him. How long could safety last? Her story stirred something, deep within him, a resolve to protect her no matter the cost. The next day, while Mark worked and Emma sat in school, Sarah paced the empty house. A sharp knock jolted her. Her fiancé loomed outside, fists clenched. She bolted the door, dialing Mark in a panic. "He's here!" Mark sped home, adrenaline surging. He found the man banging on the door, snarling, "She's mine!" Mark stepped forward, voice steady despite his racing pulse. "She's not yours. Leave or I call the cops." The fiancé glared, then retreated, spitting, "You'll regret this." Sarah clung to Mark, shaken but unbroken. Had they truly escaped her past? That night, shadows lingered as Mark, Sarah, and Emma huddled together. Sarah's guilt spilled out. "I've put you in danger." Mark shook his head. "We're stronger together." He called a lawyer friend for a restraining order, suggesting Sarah hide with his sister. But as they packed, she paused. "You've given me a family," she said, tears brimming. "I can't leave that." Emma's arms wrapped around her. "We need you, Sarah." Mark smiled. "You're one of us now." In that moment, their bond solidified. Could it withstand the storms ahead? Weeks later, the restraining order held, the fiancé silenced by law. Sarah stayed, her presence a quiet gift. She found work, her confidence blooming, while Mark rediscovered hope through her strength. One bright afternoon, they returned to the park, Emma swinging high as Mark and Sarah sat close. "You saved me," Sarah whispered. Mark replied, "You brought light back to us." Their eyes met, a promise unspoken. Sometimes the bravest hearts find each other in the darkest moments. Sarah mused, a truth worth sharing. If this story moved you, tap that heart and pass it on to inspire someone today.